Good evening, y'all, and welcome to another Talk to Me Thursday. Sorry, y'all, Talk to Me Thursday live. I'm thinking it's Tuesday now. But yes, welcome to another live Talk to Me Thursday. On Thursdays, we do different topics. It can be a range of different things, from business to tax to finance to whatever topic that we want to talk about on today. And today we are doing a part 2 to our S-Corp conversation that we were talking about last week, that I promised that I would come back and talk to y'all today. Although there's a different topic that I actually want to talk to y'all about today. But because I did say next week I'll do part 2, so let me do part 2, and then I will hold the other topic that I want to talk to y'all about another time. If you are new to me, I am Chastity Grady. At my company, Grady Tax Plus, it is our #1 goal to make sure that we are keeping the IRS out of your pockets so that you can live a better life. Why? Because you deserve it. I am the go-to expert for social workers and therapists in business. My background stems from being a licensed clinical social worker, thus making me the go-to person because I know all the things regarding the mental health space in the fields, and I am the person who can help those individuals. Although I am someone who is the go-to expert for social workers and therapists in business, I am not exclusive to them. I am not exclusive, and there's other people who are a part of different industries who I also serve and am connected to. So let's get into this topic. Go ahead and get into this topic. If you notice, I am in a different environment at the moment. I am currently out of town in North Carolina, so I'm in a hotel room, so I don't have my fancy office or all the backgrounds going on for today. I'm in my airport clothes, so so it's an informal live. We won't be on here. I say that. I'm not even going to say we won't be on here too long, because then I'll get to talking for 40 minutes and I contradict myself. So let me just not even say that. But anywho, let's go ahead and get to the topic before my room service gets here, okay? And hopefully there's no delay in the internet. And if there is, I apologize if there's a delay in the internet. However, I must be faithful and continue to go ahead and go live. So hopefully you can hear me good. Hopefully you can see me good. And let's go. Let's do part 2 of the LLC. Should I be an LLC or should I be an S-Corp? Go back and watch part 1. It's only going to be available for the next couple of weeks due to Facebook's new rule that they only keep lives for 30 days. So go back and watch that replay of last week so that you can get some information on what this live is about, because I won't rehash everything that I talked about last week. So go back and watch that, and I will also have that video on YouTube here shortly, because I also have a YouTube page where that's where I've been transferring all of my live content to, is on YouTube now. So all of my replays, everything is on my Grady Tax Plus YouTube page. So make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube page so that you can watch all of my replays that Facebook later deletes. Okay, let's get into it. Should I be an S-Corp or should I stay or be an LLC or even a PLLC? Just to recap, last week I talked about the importance of understanding your business structure. Right? The importance of understanding your business structure. When you understand what business structure is and what it means, that helps you make informed decisions, okay? That helps you make informed decisions. I'm not telling you to go to business school. I'm not telling you to go to law school or anything. I'm just asking you to simply understand what's an LLC, what is a PLLC, what are these legal entities that I hear people talk about that maybe I don't fully understand the purpose of, because I was just told that I don't have to have those things in order to be a business owner. And that is absolutely true. You don't have to have anything, right? All you have to just be, you just have to breathe and you can be in business, okay? You can breathe and be in business and fine. However, there is a subset of you all. There's a subset of you all who don't want to just live your life that way. You don't want to just wake up and breathe and be in business and just have something just all over the place. And you don't want that. There's a subset of you who really want to have a functional, you really want to have a structured business that is predictable for you, that you can count on for generations to generations, or maybe not even from generations to generation, but at least for your lifetime. There's a subset of you who want that, and you want that stability, and you want that through your business and not through an employer. And so this live is going to be specifically for you. Okay, this live will be specifically for you if that's your story. Okay. Now, when it comes to the LLC, when it comes to the PLLC, again, I don't want to go too much into it because we did a breakdown last week. But the main difference that you need to understand between those two and an S-Corp is that the S-Corp is just a tax strategy. The faster that you will understand that an S-Corp is not a legal entity that you're selecting to be a part of. The LLC, the PLLC, those are the legal entities that you would choose to have. And when I say legal entities, that means that you are protecting yourself legally. You're protecting yourself legally. If you have assets, personal assets, those things are not at stake if someone were to sue you. If you are one of the people who I serve who work in the mental health space, that is a high risk. That's a high risk profession. Okay, if you work in any kind of industry where your license is on the line, those are high risk professions where the possibility of getting sued is there. So I always tell people, get the LLC, get the PLLC. I don't care if you're doing this on the side. Do you want to be on the side of the street if somebody were to sue you in your house? Is up for grabs, right? No, you do not. So even if you're doing it on the side, it doesn't hurt for you to spend. In Texas, it's a couple $100, $300. It doesn't hurt for you to spend that money to have that peace of mind that if something were to go wrong, personally, I'm okay. Nobody can come knock on my door and try to say, give me your house for whatever the lawsuit bill was, okay? No one can do that as long as you have everything structured right. That's the kind of peace of mind you want to have. So that's why I don't subscribe to people saying, oh, you don't need to get the LLC or the PLLC until you're making X amount of money. No, I don't care if you made $1, okay? I don't care if you made $1. That $1 needs to be protected. And the way you do that is having a legal structure. Now, when you look at an S-Corp, the S-Corp is the tax strategy or not the tax strategy, it's a tax strategy because there's multiple. The S-Corp is just one tax strategy that people like to flock to in order to save money on taxes. Now, when you hear the word tax strategy, okay, this is what I want you to think of when you hear of it. When you have your business, right, you have many deductions, you have many business expenses that you can write off in your business. But when you're just an LLC, when you're just a PLLC, whatever you pay yourself is not one of them. Whatever you pay yourself is not tax deductible. You cannot write off the amount of money that you pay yourself. You cannot write it off. I don't care what you've heard, what this person is doing. I do not care. If the IRS were to audit you, you will fail the audit 100% of the time. It cannot happen. Okay, it just can't. Okay, I don't want to yell at y'all. I feel like I'm starting to yell. Let me just calm down. If you're just an LLC, if you're just a PLLC, you cannot write off the money that you pay yourself. You will fail an IRS audit 100% of the time. Okay. Okay. Now let me stop being dramatic. 99.99% of the time. Okay. So again, there's many tax deductions. Great content. Thank you for going over this. Yes, you're welcome. There's many deductions that your business can have. Okay, many of them. And some of the deductions are just regular business expenses. Some of them are tax strategies, right? Home office, that's a tax strategy. Using your car for business, that's a tax strategy. Hiring your family in your business, that's a tax strategy. All of these things, those are tax strategies that you implement. Using retirement accounts, tax strategy, right? These are different things that you would do to help you lower the amount of money that you're being taxed on. But the problem is, like I said, whatever you pay yourself is just not one of those strategies that you can use within the LLC, PLLC. So that is where the S-Corp comes in. The S-Corp comes in when you have done all that you can do. When you've tried all the many things and your tax bill is still astronomical, it's still super large, it's still high to where it's like there has to be another way for me to keep more of my money in my pocket and out of the IRS pocket. There has to be another way. And then that's where you get an analysis, and that's where the S-Corp comes in. And that's where we look at, okay, oh, my room service is here. Y'all give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all.
Hey, good evening.
Hey.
Can I come in?
Sure.
Thank you. Where should I place it for you?
You just put it on the table right there.
Schedule something for me?
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. I can charge it to the room, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I brought up another copy for you to keep if you need it, just in case.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all make sure y'all keep y'all receipts, because you got to write this stuff off for y'all taxes. Sorry, I'm on Facebook doing a live.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to do the live before y'all came.
Oh, I like how your case matches your phone color.
Yeah, because I'm on brand. That's my brand color. Everything got to match.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a blessed one.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all got to stay on brand. Everything is great. Okay, let me stop. Okay, let me sit down. Okay, I don't eat cold food, so let me try to knock this out in 10 minutes. All right, so tax strategy is just a tax strategy. So now we're looking at, okay, after I've done all the things, can I elect to become an S-Corp to save me additional money on taxes? Because in the LLC and the PLLC, if I paid myself $50,000, I can't write that off from the business. So how do I do that? How do I write off, if I paid myself $50,000 from my business account, how can I make that be a deduction? That's where the S-Corp comes in. The S-Corp comes in, and you're able to, whatever reasonable salary that you put yourself on, you can now write that off on your taxes. And it will shrink the amount of taxable income that you are being taxed on. Okay? It shrinks it. So let me do some verbal numbers with y'all. I wish I had something I can write it on. Okay, let's do some easy math. So let's say you made $100,000. You made $100,000 in your business. You spent $20,000. That leaves you with $80,000 net profit. On a Schedule C, if you have an LLC or a PLLC, you're going to be taxed on $80,000. The IRS doesn't care if you did not pay yourself all of the $80,000. You had access to the $80,000 as your pay, so that's why you're paying taxes on that full $80,000, right? But let's say if in the S-Corp, the same situation, you made $100,000, you spent $20,000 in business expenses, but then you also paid yourself $50,000, okay? So because you paid yourself in the S-Corp of $50,000, now you have $70,000 worth of deductions versus the 20 as just an LLC or a PLLC. So now you got the 100,000 minus the 50,000 minus the 20,000, leaving you with $30,000. So instead of being taxed on 80,000 over here, you're being taxed on 30,000. That's a huge difference, right? And that's where the S-Corp comes in. The S-Corp doesn't come in because you want to pay yourself on a salary, because you don't know how to pay yourself in the LLC, PLLC structure. It doesn't come in because of that. I see that often, that people are like, oh, somebody told me become an S-Corp so I can pay myself consistently and give myself a paycheck. You don't need to do that. When you have the proper structure and systems in place within the LLC and a PLLC structure, you can do just that in that same structure. Because guess what? What happens is, just because you put yourself on payroll as an S-Corp, I still see people pulling out $100, $200, $300, $400 every other day, every other week. Because what they're paying themselves, because they got used to doing that, pulling money out. You got used to doing that. And so you become an S-Corp and you bring those same bad habits to the S-Corp, and you leave yourself not having any money in the S-Corp. And listen, before you even consider being an S-Corp, You should always have a minimum of 5 figures just sitting in your account as part of the business. Let's say, I don't want to say discretionary, but just as part of the business money that does not get touched. I see people go into S-Corps and you are cash poor. Cash poor means you don't have access to capital in your bank account. You don't have access to pull out money if you need it, right? And you find yourself having to transfer money into the S-Corp to fund the S-Corp. That doesn't make sense. Why would you transfer money into the S-Corp to pay yourself a salary because the S-Corp didn't have the money? Right? When you become an S-Corp, it's because you are in abundance of cash flow. You're in abundance of money. You shouldn't become an S-Corp and be living from paycheck to paycheck within the S-Corp structure. You're setting yourself up for failure because there's too many fees that come with being an S-Corp. Because now you got to pay for payroll. Now it's a requirement that you really have somebody doing your bookkeeping for you. Then the tax returns, they're more expensive when you are an S-Corp. You got to file 2 tax returns. You got the S-Corp and your personal, and just additional administrative fees. Then you got the state unemployment, you got federal unemployment. There's just more fees. And that's why you have to have an analysis to see, okay, does all of these fees outweigh my savings? Okay, does my savings from saving money on taxes, does it outweigh all of these fees that I'm now going to have because I want to be an S-Corp? And that's what people don't look at. And I don't want you to be someone who jumps into a structure, who jumps into something, and you are it's a waste of money for you. Because S-Corps can be a waste of money for several people who are not set up from a structure standpoint, from a mental standpoint, financial standpoint. If you're not set up correctly to be able to manage and maintain being in that status, right? So don't let what people say to you online, don't let somebody try to woo you. Do not let somebody try to convince you that you must be an S-Corp because you made a certain amount of money. That's another one I hear. You don't have to be an S-Corp because you made a certain amount of money. You don't, listen. Everything is relative to your tax situation. Again, I've mentioned there's other tax strategies that exist that can help you save money on taxes. And if you're not utilizing those, then why become an S-Corp just to utilize one strategy? The S-Corp is just one strategy, right? When you could have used a whole bunch of other strategies as just an LLC, as just a PLLC, okay? Let me know if y'all understood what I said. Okay, let me know if you're understanding. Should I be an LLC, PLLC, or should I be an S-Corp, right? That's what this was about. And so as I come to a close, if you are someone, right, so let me tell you this. Again, when you think about becoming an S-Corp, you always want to do an analysis. You never want to go off verbal information, what somebody said to you. Let them show you what it looks like on paper. If you become an S-Corp, this is how much money you'll save. If you become an S-Corp, you actually going to be breaking even, so let's just stay where you are. Let somebody show you that on paper, right? Not that because you made 100,000, so now you need to become an S-Corp. No, that's not how that works. Let somebody show you on paper that this is what it looks like. This is what your tax savings looks like. This is how much money you're going to be spending being an S-Corp, but it's still saving you a bunch of money, so don't worry about the extra fees. Let somebody show you on paper, okay? We do that for our clients. We do tax analysis for our clients to see if you should become an S-Corp, and if not, these are the other strategies that you can use to help you save money, save thousands into your pocket and out of the IRS pockets, okay? Thank you, Jamisha. All right, that's what that's about. So we do those for our clients. We are in a tax season, though. We are in a tax season. Let me see, because I didn't even consult Holy Spirit on this part. If you want to be a S-Corp for 2026 and you want to start it as of January, the best way to do it is that you have to make the election by March 15th. So March 16th, because the 15th is on a Sunday. So you would have to have an analysis done before then to see, should I become an S-Corp in 2026? And let me do the steps so I can become one if you qualify. Okay, so if that's something that you want, I'll put the link in the comments later. I can only do let me see. I can only do 3 of those. Those are $1,500, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. Some of my clients, we have gone on to file their 2553, which is the form to file the S-Corp. Others, we have just implemented other strategies, okay? We saw that it wasn't really a good fit, but now they hired their daughter into their therapy practice to help them do social media. Now they've done other things to help them save money on taxes that they weren't doing before as a result of doing analysis, okay? But we are in a tax season, right? What's today? February. See, I need to know what the dates are. February the 12th. It's February the 12th, right? If you're an S-Corp already, and you need to file your S-Corp tax return, you have until March 16th. That's the same deadline for partnerships too. You have until March 16th to file, right? In the comments, there is a link to my informational session, but if y'all S-Corp or a partnership, listen, don't even click it because the next date is on the 18th, which is next week, and you just need to go ahead and go directly to my website. Like, if you know you need to work with me, you know you want to work with me, don't even go to the informational session because you're wasting time at that point. Time is of the essence, right? When I tell you March 16th, it creeps up on you real fast. And if you want to file by that March 16th date, then you got to be a client of mine by February 28th. Like, when I say by February 28th, that means I have all of your stuff by February 28th. And I'm finding that clients who are not my bookkeeping clients, when I look at their bookkeeping, it's all over the place. It's the numbers is not numbering on the profit and loss. And like, for example, on what's today? Wednesday? No, today's Thursday. Yesterday on Wednesday, a client of mine, I went through our whole tax return appointment. It was spent with us going through her bookkeeping because it was wrong. She had distributions located on her profit and loss statement. You can't deduct distributions as an expense that goes on the balance sheet. Like, it was just different stuff. And I tell y'all this all the time. If that bookkeeping is wrong, tax return is wrong. That's why you can't just accept, even me as a professional, I don't accept anybody's numbers at face value unless I did it myself. I don't care if I taught you how to do it. I don't accept nothing at face value. I'm going to critique. I'm going to look at your numbers, because if the numbers are wrong, the tax return is wrong. And what you're not going to do, I just had to say it like that. What you're not going to do is say, I prepared your return wrong when you gave me what you gave me. So I always do my due diligence to make sure that the numbers that if you gave it to me, that the numbers, they right. Because if it's not right, return is not right, and let's correct it. We got to correct the numbers, okay? So that's number one. All right, so if you want to work with me, I'm going to put the link in the comments for you to go directly to my website to go ahead and book your tax package. That's how you work with me. When you want to work with me, you go to my website, you book the service that you want. That's how I've operated my company over the last 5 or so years, where people would just go directly to my website, purchase your tax package, and let's get to work. Let's get to work. So that's how we get started. However, I do have those informational sessions available. The next one's on February the 18th, which is this upcoming Wednesday. So if you want to still learn more about how I help you keep the IRS out of your pockets, what it's like to work with me, what happens after you purchase, if you need that for your peace of mind, then what those sessions are for. Okay, so the next one, February 18th. Now that's the link that you will see. Let me feature it. That's not the link right there. Oh, it's because I'm on my phone. Hold on, y'all. I'll put it in the comments after I end the live. I'm normally on my computer, so I'm not on my computer at the moment. But I will show my consultation link. If you do want a consultation, you can do that for me. All right. As I come to the close, let's do my benediction, because my food is here. That's why I keep looking at it over here, because I just made it to North Carolina. I've only eaten croissants for today, and your girl is hungry. All right. So my benediction to y'all. What I say at the end of all of my lives is that if you've heard me enough, or if you've watched enough of my lives, or know anything about me, then you know that I am a follower of Jesus. Now, what does that mean for you? Why do I gotta tell you that I'm a follower of Jesus? Well, I've been commissioned. I feel like I have been commissioned to not only express my gratitude, but express who Jesus is in my life, but also for other people to hear. And so the scripture that has been deposited into me for this, at least for this season, is John chapter 10, where Jews were questioning Jesus, asking, like, how long you gonna keep our soul in suspense? Like, if you're the Christ, just tell us. And he was like, I told y'all, but you didn't believe me. The works I do, they testify concerning who I am, but you do not believe me because you are not my sheep. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, and they shall by no means perish. I should give them eternal life, and nobody shall snatch them from my hand. The Father who gave them to me, nobody shall snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and the Father are one. Why do I have to give y'all this scripture? Because let me tell y'all, it's part of it is me being obedient, because I know what God is about to do in my life. And so it's like, okay, if I just keep doing it, because God, why you got me telling these people these scriptures? And I'm supposed to be talking about taxes, right? And that's because it's up. Let me say it how it was given to me. You don't have to be a follower of Jesus. You just got to know that I am. Okay, you just got to know that I am. You have to know that where my help is coming from, because everything that I do is not by my own design. It's not by my own thinking. A lot of the things that I do, that I have done in my business, is because the information has been deposited into my spirit in order for me to execute. Okay, and that is a powerful thing. That's a powerful thing that people need to know. People need to know that can happen for them, even if you don't want it to, but that it can, right? And I'm not trying to turn anybody any way or the other. You just got to know where my way is. And if you're good with where my way is, then we're good to work together. Okay, we're good to go together. Okay, if you're okay with where my help is coming from, right? And the part of that, understanding where your help needs to come from, is understanding the voices that you're listening to, understanding what's going into your ear gate, right? Everything that you hear, it doesn't always resonate with you. You can be listening to a certain type of music and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like noise. Let me turn it off. That's because their voice, like, for example, I didn't watch the Super Bowl or the performance, but I don't even know who Bad Bunny is. But a lot of people, they did not resonate with Bad Bunny's voice. They did not resonate with, some people resonated and some people didn't. And that's okay, because everybody is not for everybody. You have to go and listen to the voices. You have to go and follow the people who you resonate with. And the only way for you to know if you resonate with somebody is if you hear their voice. That's what I was talking about in John chapter 10. My sheep, they know my voice. They know my voice. When you know the voice that you're supposed to follow, then you follow, right? If my voice is the voice that you're supposed to follow, you're like, Chastity, that's the girl. Grady Tax Plus, that's the company who I need to be connected with. That's who's going to help me get to my next level. Then follow. Go to my website. Join my email list. Whatever it is you need to do, follow, okay? Let me make sure, because I got Instagram coming to y'all. Okay. Don't be disobedient and ignore the voices that's supposed to help you get to your next level, okay? But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you do hear Jesus's voice, then follow him, right? That's up to you. That's your invitation. All right, so that's it. That's all. Hope y'all have an amazing rest of y'all Thursday night. I will be back for Fire Your Boss Friday. Now, because I am out of town, I don't know what time I will be doing that. Typically, it will be around 7:30. But I have to set up my vendor table around that time. So I'll just make a post beforehand to let y'all know I'm going live for Fire Your Boss Friday. But I hope y'all have an amazing this upcoming Friday, and I'll see you in the next video.